So what do you do when there's a quarantine? You clean out your closets. Show you what I found coming up. All right, first week of quarantine. I'm spending too much time in my closet. I found these. I bought them at a dollar store. We live on the lake, so I like to wear bold sunglasses to raft around on our pink flamingo. I found these in there too. Looks good, huh? So that's me getting ready for spring. But meanwhile, for this quarantine, I found this skirt in my closet. I was hanging out in my closet, cleaning it out. Found this. A whole bunch of other stuff too. But this one is a quick changeover. I'm just gonna make it shorter. And then when spring is here next month, I'll be ready to go. I'm gonna show you how I do it. Coming up. Well, step one is to decide. Decide how long you want the skirt to be. So I have put a pin right about here. I'm just gonna make it this like fit up at my waist. I want to wear it at my waist so that the tank top going over this part here. If it went on my high hip, it shows more muffin rolls. So a little bit slimmer this way. So I'm gonna just most of that white in there and a couple parts here. And if this were up here, then the tank top comes about here and shows a little bit of that green, and then the white comes in. So I'm just gonna eyeball this and just literally cut it. It's about 1 inch down from this first seam, and I'm not gonna even bother measuring it because it's full too, so it looks pretty even. The problem is I was just gonna connect the lining. There's a little gauze lining in here, right here. I was gonna just connect it, baste it, and stitch it, but the lining ends about here, and I still have all that skirt to go. So I know if I shorten it, then the whole lining gets too short, and then it gets caught between your legs while you're walking, and I know it's uncomfortable. I had a skirt like that once before, and it's just uncomfortable. If it goes a little bit longer, it stays down. So now I'm gonna separate the two separately and just get more of that lining in there. I'll use all this length that's all the way up here instead of chopping it here. So that's my next step. Okay, I'm just gonna cut this here. First off, I'm gonna cut this thing off. Why do they put these on there? You tie them up and it just adds to your waist. I don't know. But I'm just gonna be cutting off the first layer here. I'm just gonna chop it right there. And I've been working with measurements for so long that I can eyeball things pretty well. Just go around, you can see the lining under here. Just separate these two. Using little kid scissors. Sometimes these little kid scissors are easier. They have a blunter edge on them, so then they don't get caught in the fabric. Maybe you could just wear it like this. It's kind of cool. Almost done. Squeaky. There's that. Ta-da! So now what I need to do is cut this off up here and then baste it to the skirt. So I can make some cute little scrunchies out of that. All right, that was step 2. Step 3 is cut this off. Now I just gotta cut this part off here. Make sure that this elastic part is even here. Just go this way. Chop it off about 1 inch right here. Right through the tag. Wonder what tag that was. Who made this? Metroware. Don't want tags. They itch. The other really good thing about me separating these two also was in the front of this, where'd it go? Right here. The die looks like it was a spot right here, like it's a coffee spot. So I'm actually going to put that in the back. So that was right where the front was. It's always in the front, you know. So I know that was from the die because it was also on the lining part. So now I just have to reconnect this part to the inside of that, although it's bigger, but I'm just going to stretch it and then baste it together. Got these separated. What I've done here, I just ran a basting E-stitch through this first layer so that it would kind of gently crinkle this up, since this layer is wider than this layer here. So I just leave this one alone, E-stitch that. And you can also find, I have on my SewBit, there's a whole little tutorial on E-stitching that you can see if you don't know what that is. Also, I noticed in here there's only one side seam on this first layer. There's no other seam, so I balanced it out and I put a little mark here because this underlining has two side seams. So I'm going to put this right side up to the wrong side here, slip it in there. Gauze is not that easy, it sticks to everything. And I'm going to match up my side seams, or at least that one side seam, to the first layer there, and then find the other side seam, match it up to the little mark, which is disappearing. It's one of those invisible markers. I think I'm going to put 2 pins there just to let me know it's the side seam. And then tuck all that in and pin these layers together. And then go and use a basting stitch on there to anchor them down so that when I put the elastic on, it's a lot easier. It's come together pretty well. All right. When you're working with gauze, it sticks together. Okay, this is ready to baste. These are pinned together. Sew it. And then the next step. Okay, got this all basted together. Came out really good, really even. The E-stitch in here went on there very smooth and didn't make any little puckers. I gotta make sure all this is trimmed really well too before I sew the elastic on. But how I'm going to do this is I've got this great elastic that I love. It's I put on here because it's in my school, Chanel only, because it's not cheap, about 15 bucks a card here. Use a coupon. And it's called 1-inch fold-over elastic, and it's the good quality stuff. There's some stuff on Amazon that they used for tying your hair back, like little hair scrunchies, and it's thinner. This one's got some weight to it, and it has a nice fold over like this. So all you got to do is put your fabric into that fold, and you sew it over, and you have to like stretch it as you sew, and it's pretty simple. It's like a piping, maybe not. Never mind. Anyway, so what I've done was I just put it around my waist and made it comfortable, not too tight, because then I want all this fabric to grip in and cause a bunch of gathers. And then I just did like a little 1/2 inch over. Then what I did was I find the half, so I fold this in half right here, make a chalk mark on the half. That'll be side seam to side seam right here. Then I find the quarters, so you fold it 1/2 to 1/2 like this, mark the quarter, and then on the skirt, that's where I'll mark the center back and the center front. So you take the 2 side seams, got them on my lining, and then and I also marked it on my skirt because I didn't have that side seam. And then you find the quarters of your skirt. So you just work in quarters, and then it'll be easier to like gather that elastic around. And then find the quarter here. These are those friction pens that you just iron off. They do tend to bleach out some fabric, so you have to be careful, but it's not going to matter in this fabric because it is kind of bleached out. All right, so now I'm going to take this to the sewing machine and I'll show you how we put that on. Okay, I'm ready to sew. I have my first piece of elastic starting right at the side seam, and then the first quarter right there, and then I'm going to stretch it as I sew right there. And because I'm going to stretch it, I don't need to do a stretch stitch on it. I'm just going to stitch it in here, get it started. I'll reverse, and then I need to put all this fabric right up to the fold right there, and then lap it over, give it a little bit of a stretch, hold it, and put that, when the needle's down there too, it really helps it stay down. So just put it in quarters, tuck it under there, needles down, not a whole lot of stretch, so that's good, and sew it. Oh. Did my first quarter, and I'm going to take that pin out of there, tuck it under, get it started, and sew that right there. It's good if the fabric stays under here. It's not slippery, so it should stay in there. Check on it every once in a while. That. Whenever you stop, if you put the needle down in there, it will really help. Finish that up. Okay, there's my side seam. I'm halfway done. Make sure, sometimes the fabric too also wants to come up underneath it, so make sure it's staying down. That way. Looks like that fabric. Ooh, just pulled it out. Whoa. Stay. Finish that up. That one in sections. Okay, got to another center. Now this one I don't have pinned. I'm just gonna get halfway there. I'm gonna get it lapped over just a hair, about half an inch on the end there. Lap that in there. Hope I'm getting this caught. Hate to sew all that there, then it didn't get caught. Finish that up. Guess it helps you have a thick waist. That's one good thing about it. There, I'm going to pivot this now and sew straight up here. Reverse stitch it. Cut it off there. Then there is my skirt. The elastic. Pretty simple. Looks pretty good on both sides. It looks like I got it caught in there. It rolls over pretty easily, so it's pretty easy to catch. So, and I didn't even need a stretch stitch on there. So next, I'll show you how this looks. Got my skirt done. Got the elastic up here. Fits really good. Well, it's on my dress form anyway, but looks good with this color. It's a little bit brighter, but that's a nice version other than black. So that looks really good. I'm really glad I lengthened that lining in here, that little extra gauze lining, because that would have been really irritating, getting caught up in my legs as you're walking. So when you can sew, you can adjust things around, and sometimes life is easier. Anyway, so what's in your closet? I'd love to see what kind of things you come up with. Check in there and see if there's anything that can just, little updating, just shorten it a little bit or tuck it in here and there, and maybe you'll wear it. So anyway, subscribe, don't forget to subscribe, and we have weekly videos coming out. I have one section called SewBits, and it's where I show you a new technique every week, and it helps your learning process of sewing, like bit by bit. And I believe in everyday effort. Just do a little bit every day, or at least every other day, and all of a sudden you can sew really well. So I'll see you in the next video.